Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sports Card Madness, brought to you by DraftKings and their app Pick Six. Sign up with code Madness6 for up to $50 in free credits. This is LZ. I'm here with Nick. Today on the show, we have Alex Jaimo, who is a sports, collectibles, entertainment host, Major League Baseball correspondent, and Netflix star. I'm gonna get right to it. What Alex is on today for? Alex is with us today to talk about the disgusting backyard break comments that were made this week. Mm-hmm. We just want to cut it up with her. I want to voice my opinion. Nick wants to voice his. We want to hear what Alex has to say, and we're just going to hit this topic like direct, right on. Alex, welcome to the show. Happy to have you.
Hi. First of all, thanks for the intro. I just want to say former Netflix star. But
okay.
Honestly,
all right.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on, you guys. And we talked for the audience, me and the boys just talked about like our game plan for what was going on tonight with this pod. And they want me to talk a lot, but I honestly think that it's best that we have a discussion as women and men together, because that is the main issue. So looking forward to it. Thanks for having me on.
You got it. We appreciate the suggestion. All right. So for people who are hearing this for the first time, you might not be aware of what happened with Backyard Breaks this week. So Nick, why don't you go ahead and play the reel that you shared this week that kind of uncovered and unearthed these disgusting comments that were made?
Sure thing. Let's do it.
God, I can't wait to have a daughter. Those double D's finna go crazy.
Listen to the rest of this and let me know if you think he should ever have children.
She'll go to elementary in a bikini. I hope my daughter has some calcium cannons. I really hope she does. I want her to get a nice little OnlyFans, pay for me and Mama's Christmas. Pierce them up early. Get her pierced up early. Do it at birth. You know what I'm saying?
All right. You just saw what he said. And, I don't know. I got a daughter. Even if I didn't have a daughter, this is some of the weirdest stuff I've ever heard. I mean, I was in a fraternity. I've done and said some weird stuff. This is like way beyond that. It's sexualizing a minor, which is just kind of bad.
It's
like,
very
I really can't think of a good circumstance. And I understand, like, you've got like a one-man show. It's not even a one-man show. You got a wingman there. And it's like, where was that dude? Like,
well, that dude was kind of egging him on. Like, you could say that.
Well, that's his minion. That's his minion. Mm-hmm. So I need to jump in here. You started off the bat, and this is a point, Nick, that I want to make with men. I understand that the principles and your intentions are right, or going in the right direction. It's coming from your heart. When you say, I have a daughter, pro tip for men, I don't care if you have a daughter. It doesn't matter if you have a daughter, right?
That's true.
You don't need to use phrases like, as a father of daughters, or as a girl dad, I condemn that. Like, those don't need to be a prerequisite to just, condemning vile, filthy, disturbing rhetoric against women. Okay?
That's fair. I agree with you. I'm
Everyone
guilty of
needs
that.
to know. You guys need. I know the intentions are good. A lot of you in the hobby last night came out and said, as a father, blah blah blah. I think when Kobe Bryant and poor little Gigi tragically passed away, the whole girl dad thing became like a trendy thing, as it should be. But that should not be the only reason why you condemn what just happened. Like, my brothers don't. It's okay. Does that make sense to you guys?
Totally makes sense.
Okay, cool.
It makes sense. It makes sense,
Please
Alex.
tell your friends. Women
But
hate
I'm
that.
but I also want to give a little bit of a different perspective to that, and respectfully. When I became a parent, like I was kind of a hothead when I was in my 20s, and I was not very in touch with my emotions when I was in my 20s. And then I had children, and like on a dime, like everything changed. Like my perspective on literally everything in the world changed. So I think like when I saw this, I got very emotional.
Yep.
I got emotional because I thought of my children, both my daughter and my son. And I want to get into like both sides of that. And I think, and I thought of my sister, and I thought of my mother, and I thought of like my son's friends, and it's just like it all kind of hit me at once. So like, yes, I definitely probably do say, and if you didn't say this, I probably would have said, me as a father and me as a son, I would have said that. But I want to let you know like where that's coming from, because
totally
like it just brings, it's a very emotional
Larry,
thing.
I totally understand that. I'm just saying, you guys, it doesn't need to be a prerequisite.
No, it doesn't.
It should be condemned.
It sucks for everybody, whether
way.
you're
right. Yeah. I mean, I'm 35. I don't have babies. A 35-year-old man, one of my good friends that lives next door, doesn't have babies, but he should feel the exact, even though he doesn't have a daughter, he should still feel the same way.
100%.
Does it hit a little more close to home, knowing that some, potentially predatory weirdo is saying these things? Yes, that's disgusting, especially when you do have a daughter. Yeah. So as I know the intentions are good, but I'm just saying I'm not the only woman who feels this way. A lot of us feel that way.
Yeah.
So pro tip for all of you.
even us as friends, like I think of you, and I think of like
thank you.
Does she have to deal with this BS? Like, deal with this BS all the time? Like, this is ridiculous. Yep. It's ridiculous. So, I mean, I just want to state that, like, I think this was absolutely just appalling, disgusting. I was floored. I was actually speechless for a while. Like when I saw it, I had to watch it a few times, Nick, because when you first posted that, I'm like, oh, I don't know how to feel about this. And then I like actually listened, and I'm like, holy crap! Like this thing hit me hard.
Nick, were you the first one? Were you?
No, well, it's interesting. I feel like I was the third. So I woke up that morning, and everybody just sends me stuff. I think there's some original source somewhere. I'd love to credit to it, but I don't know who it is. I think it was on Twitter. Two people, Valor Sports Cards and another one, sent that to me. Gotcha. And me, I'm just like, this reel's no good. Like I need to make like an 18-second reel that's going to get attention, and it's the most viral reel like I've ever done by 100x, and it's hit Barstool and everything, and it's crazy. I mean, Alex, what do you?
Yes, think? Dude, when it hits Barstool, and those goons,
you're in big trouble.
Are saying, I think you crossed the line with women. Yeah. You really effed up. Okay? Alex, you know the saying, F around and find out? All right, Grant, you effed around and you find it out right now.
If you Google his name right now, it ain't good.
Don't even say his name. I don't even want to say it.
It's bad.
Like, I don't even want to give him attention.
Right. So Alex, it's Friday night, and LZ, it's Friday night. It's an emergency pod.
Yeah.
Whatnot has still not officially said anything. The only official thing that we've heard whatsoever from anyone is that he who may not be named is suspended indefinitely. That's an easy layup.
Did they suspend him, or did he take himself away out of the game?
I don't. Who knows?
Question. Right? Because I want to know.
Yeah, he's a part owner. I can imagine some pissed off investor was like,
no, we're not.
Sorry, buddy. No. You own what percent and whatever. Yeah. But what I'm worried about now is Whatnot is becoming just a chaos pit. Like Backyard was banning 100 people an hour. I was counting last night.
And why? Because of their comments? People making comments.
It was literally like,
what do you block?
No swearing, nothing. It's just like, what are you guys doing? Like, what is up with this? Block. It's like they had a bot blocking it, and it's spilling over into the other channels. Like I'm looking at other channels. They're like, why are you even on here? Like support this. Like, and it must be chaos there right now. And I cannot believe Whatnot has at least not come. They should at least come out and say, there's a process for this. We're following the process. And here's the timeline, like the NFL did with Deflategate, or like, anything, any stupid thing. Like, it's crazy that they haven't said anything yet.
To me, it's not surprising whatsoever. Mel, of course, my dog is barking. Be quiet. I'm speaking up for women, girl. It's not surprising for me whatsoever. I don't want to shit on Whatnot. I've never worked with them directly, but I will tell you this. I have had a few run into them. I've been doing this, you guys, on TV and sports for 15 years, but in the hobby, I've been around doing this stuff, and not to sound like a jerk, but I've been a pretty prominent figure in the hobby space, especially when I was filming the first season of Netflix and all that jazz came out. So people knew who I was with Whatnot, and these men would come up to me, young men in their early mid-20s, maybe I don't even want to give them that grace. Maybe in their early 30s. And they all wanted me to work for them. They wanted me to make appearances on their platform. They wanted me to build their brand and all of this. They wanted me to be not necessarily a mouthpiece, but in my opinion, they just wanted me to sit there, shut up, and look pretty. Now, at the same time, they didn't want to pay me at all. Like they said I wasn't worth money. I should be happy that I'm grateful that I was given the opportunity to be on their platform.
No,
so I have not, as a woman, had a great experience whatsoever with Whatnot. So with all this stuff transpiring, I am not shocked at all whatsoever. I also want to say one thing that is very important. This is just one instance from not only Backyard, but from many, many men in breaking companies across the nation. That is caught on camera. This stuff, you guys, happens all the time. Now, directed at women. Because he put the 6-year-old age creepy crawler, like go to the HLE double hockey sticks type of stuff thing, it obviously inflated the situation. But you guys, this is just one instance. This stuff happens every night in front of the camera and behind and in the DMs. And this is just the one time he was caught, right? Like imagine all the other times that these guys have not been caught.
Right.
And if they're willing to say this vile, disgusting filth in front of a camera, it's not the first time he's been in front of a camera. He does this every day, all day long. He consciously said this crap out loud. Imagine what these men, I don't even want to call them men, they're like boys, say behind the camera.
Boys.
Imagine, I can't even imagine what
they kept going last night too. They had another break and people are just sending me, I can't even keep up with the DM, so I apologize. But like they sent me a clip where they're like, oh, we aren't even allowed to joke like this anymore. Like,
no,
are
you were
kidding me?
They were joking about the incident?
Yeah, so I did another reel. And it basically, I won't splice this one. It's like 10 seconds. It's like they said something funny. I couldn't understand. It was like inaudible. And then they said, oh, sorry, we aren't allowed to joke like that anymore. And that was literally last night on a different stream. It's like,
oh man,
wow, you really learned your.
All of these boys need a reality check. They all need a reality check.
They think they're untouchable.
Every one of these boys.
They need their paycheck removed for 2 months.
Well, you guys.
They need to be even longer than that. They need to be fired, Nick.
Yeah.
Like if this is a corporate job and you were acting this way, you wouldn't just be like suspended for 2 months. You'd lose your job.
Yeah.
Oh,
You'd
absolutely.
flat out lose your job.
Like if this was Nike or Apple or like a real like big company.
Yeah, good luck, 25-year-old. You just lost your job. Now go find another one. Like good luck. Yeah. Like well, I don't even know if they're even that old. So they might even be younger. They act younger for sure. Yeah.
As a person, he's not an influencer. I don't know what he is. He's a breaker. He's an incredible genius at marketing. He's great. He knows how to market to the boys, right? The boys club, whether that be shitting all over women or what. He does a great job of doing that. But what he doesn't do a great job. And also, again, this is not just me putting the stake in this one man's heart. We all make mistakes. I'm hoping he can come back from this stronger and do good from it, actually, and help the females in the community. But I sort of just lost my train of thought.
Yeah, I mean, he's what, 20? We'll call him 25 or something like that.
I'm so angry. But my point was, as a person with a platform and a voice that he does, he influences so many people, both men, women, and children.
Yes. Yeah.
Every day.
14-year-olds, 15-year-olds entering
That's what worries
for multiple
me.
hours a day. With that comes great responsibility. And as somebody who has, you guys know me on a personal level, I have a shit ton to say. I want to talk shit about a lot of people, but I don't, because I know that maybe that's not necessarily the best decision, right? Because it might hurt more people than help. And in this situation, what he said doesn't help anyone. But it's just having the brains to, like, even if he does think these filthy things in his head, I don't know why though. Like, you think it would be funny?
That's just a weird thing to have in your head to begin with. You know what's crazy?
Like
too?
Comedians wouldn't even do this. Like I know comedians like step in it a lot, but I don't even
Richard Pryor would never have gone.
No,
there.
they wouldn't. It wouldn't go this far.
So you know what's really scary today? So they're live and it's a different duo and they're behaving and everything. There's 350 people in their live and I'm watching the comments. It is freaking like 50% of the comments are like, oh, I thought it was actually kind of funny, or like, yeah, what's so bad about this? Yeah, no, I'm like, just go on any of their streams. there's people who are like, getting banned immediately, and then there's people who are like, yeah, I love you guys, it's so funny, and it's just so.
Are you though?
polarizing.
Actually, Nick, are you actually that surprised though? Think about it. This is just a microcosm of what's going on in America to this day. Unfortunately,
I guess it's because I'm 44.
Not to bring up politics, but unfortunately, women are going backwards. And there is not just an attack of women in the hobby or young girls in the hobby. There's attack on women in the entire country. It's in Germany right now. It's a right wing women. We're the issue, and rhetoric is being spilled out of people's mouths from the top. And when that's coming from the top, these young men think it's okay to repeat, and it becomes just a lived experience that now, unfortunately, a lot of women like me are going through. That guys think they can say it, not only say it, but get away with it.
Sure.
And they should not be able to get away with this. This is where we need to draw the line.
So what do you think should happen?
A lot of shit.
Yeah,
if you could wave a magic wand, what do you think? What do you think should happen?
And I'm going to be directly upfront. I actually have met. He should not be named. To me, I've had a great experience with him, but I'm not everyone, and that doesn't matter. One experience isn't all the experiences.
Right.
I hope to God that the kid learns and grows from the situation, and like I said, does good with it. I know he has a girlfriend that he loves. Like I'm sure she's like grossed the heck out by the situation. I honestly think like he should be, and it has to go further than him, because again, let us remind the audience, he is not only the forefront and the face of their channel and their brand, but he is a co-owner. So like when you think about Backyard, you do think about this young man.
Sure.
In my opinion, it should be a definite like year suspension, and needs to go longer than that, like further than that, because he's still making money. Like when his breakers are on, breaking cards and talking trash and saying vile shit. They're still, I'm on a Boston podcast now. When they're breaking cards and saying vile shit and gross shit about women at our expense, he's still
making
ringing
money.
in the change.
Cash
so
register's still ringing.
Consequences.
Right. So what should they be, Alex?
I don't know. You tell me. I'm not. That is more up your alley.
LZ, what do you think? Because I've already said my piece on this before. I'll let you do this one.
I think that he should no longer be able to break anymore. I mean, he's an owner. It's going to be tough to like remove ownership. I mean, the board could get involved and do that.
Well, they could buy him out.
Yeah, they could buy him out. I don't think that will happen.
Yeah,
but I don't think he should ever break again. I think this, unfortunately, it's a hard lesson, and people deal with hard lessons every day of their life, and this is a crappy hard lesson for him. And Alex, to your point, I actually also agree that I hope he does learn from this. But you can learn from things in a hard way.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
sorry, pal. Like you brought up the point that like he is a good marketer. So maybe he needs to reinvent himself, clean himself up, and he should not be breaking anymore.
And find a different way to market. How about that?
Exactly. Do actual marketing. Like maybe he can do that, but he shouldn't be on camera anymore. I don't want him. Like I think about like the young boys and men that are watching him, like, whether it's my son or even like we know a few younger boys in this hobby that have like big social, and I've thought of them over this past day, and I'm like,
do they think this is cool or like?
I don't want.
Boom, Larry, you hit the nail on the head. These young freaking children are listening to this man, and they're saying, "Well, he's successful." And this is what I'm saying. This is why it's a microcosm of what's going on to women in America right now. He's successful. He's at the top. He's rich. He's famous. I could do it too. I could say this crap too.
Yeah, sure.
I can get away with it. And not only get away with it, I can flourish. I profit. And that's why Whatnot, shame on you for not coming out with a statement.
So there,
shame on you for not getting ahead of it. It's not Whatnot's fault that he did say this stuff, which by the way, like, was he drinking? Was he on drugs? Like who in their right mental mind says that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what did he say about lactating? Like,
I don't even. It's gross.
It's just it's
just odd. It's like, very odd. It's very deep, like psychoanalysis there.
But what about the business perspective here? This is important. So, Grant, that's easy, right? Now, Whatnot has one of the most. That's what I wanted to hear your thoughts on.
I mean, today it's. I mean, we're recording this on Friday night. Like, it's closed. Like, the business is closed.
We haven't heard anything.
So the only thing I think of is, all right, maybe like 6 p.m. they put something out and, they try to avoid the news cycle. Like, I guess I'm kind of hoping in the next 45 minutes or so
Doesn't
that
seem
they
like
do put something out, but I don't think they're going to. I don't know how they haven't responded. They need to respond.
I don't get it. You guys,
to.
you can explain this to me better because you're both better with money than me. That's obvious. Especially you, Nick. You're giving me my advice on finances. But Whatnot, obviously, Backyard makes them a lot of money, right?
Yes.
They have a huge,
probably
they have a huge following.
the biggest breaker they have.
Lots of revenue, 10x more than
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Those dudes, most of them are dudes that follow them. They're all going to find another breaker to break with.
Correct.
If Backyard gets banned. They ain't leaving the hobby because one doofus made horrible things.
No,
but it's more like
when Kevin Spacey got nailed for the shenanigans he did. Like, we all kept watching movies. Like, you're gonna find another breaker.
Exactly.
It's more like, what does Whatnot do as a business? And what is Backyard? Like, does Backyard need to rebrand? Does Backyard say, "F it, we're gonna go to OnlyFans"? Or do they? Does one? I'm actually starting to think Whatnot is not gonna do a thing. I'm actually starting to think that because they're worried, right? That is a lot of revenue. Like, I'm good at estimating industries, and I found out what their revenue is. I can't share it, but it's like 10x what I even
Hey, Nick,
thought.
all right, you know what that number is. We've interviewed leadership over at Whatnot.
Yes.
Do you think that this is their biggest seller on the platform?
Not just their biggest
they're selling
seller.
Sneakers and clothing and all that. You think they're the biggest?
LZ, this isn't just their biggest seller. I'd be willing to bet this is over 50% of their revenue.
Yeah, their CEO is not sleeping tonight.
All right, maybe it's 30 or 40, but we're talking, it's like a big double digits percentage of their revenue. And so you game theory this out, right? You're the CEO of Whatnot. It's like, okay, your first call is to your investors that just did a round with you at like whatever the valuation was, and you're like, all right, guys, what do you want me to do? Because you're the real bosses here. And they're like, we want grant, and they're going to be like, well, geez, they make you a lot of money, but this is tough. And it's because what if you punt Backyard from your platform, Backyard could just go to Fanatics Live. They could go to OnlyFans. They could start
Fanatics
their own
Live
thing.
is not, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know. But do you really think, Nick, that Fanatics is
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
They are not.
I do not think Michael Rubin is a fan of what happened.
No chance.
TikTok? I think TikTok could grab them. I think OnlyFans could grab them.
Well, they make their own platform. They have a big enough name for that.
Yeah.
Or they ditch it and they rebrand. It's like a total, they're not Backyard anymore. It's crazy.
Nick, the other thing back to Whatnot, they just got a huge funding round. Didn't they get like $250 million like a month ago?
Yeah, and their valuation was, I wish I had it in front of me. It was, multi-billions, big boy money, big boy investors.
Yes.
Some of the biggest names in the world, like Andreesen Horowitz's new fund, and
is it going to be some sort of cleanup activity where they'll just make them go to training, and they'll put out this statement that they all went to?
They're going to try. I think I know what the strategy is now. I've seen this play out. I've been at like Genzyme when everything went down at that company and it was like about to get kaput, and I've watched this happen. What happens is the investors.
You were at Genzyme.
Yeah, I did consulting.
Did we talk about this?
I don't think so. Long time ago.
I was at Genzyme.
It's a good time.
Oh,
for those in the audience, it's a local biotech company. But
all right.
There was something about to go down that was like they were either going to go public or not, and it was like a hostile thing going on, and it was fascinating to watch. So you get the CEO, you got the risk management team, you got the investors, and they are just all crap in the bed and like just running around like chickens. And they game it out and they say to themselves, all right, in this situation right here, they go, Backyard makes us X. The bad publicity from this costs us Y.
Y.
What is the greater variable, Y or X? Right now, I think that they're choosing X and they're choosing the revenue and they're hoping this blows over. So if you don't like this and you're watching this, keep making noise. Keep getting the news outlets to pick this up, because if it doesn't die down, then they have a...
Don't join their breaks. Like Alex said, you have 50 other options. We've had some
50 million, LZ.
Yeah, 50 million. We've had some great breakers who are also on that platform on this show. Go join their break. Like, why are there 500 people in their break last night? Like, this has got to end on Monday. There should be nobody in there.
Because it's economics 101. They're getting good deals on the breaks because nobody's there. It's unbelievable.
Do you think that's what's happening right now? Are they Are they
part of it
actually
is
giving discounts?
no. Well, no, it's not a discount. It's just not as much activity, and the prices don't go up as high. But more to your point, Alex,
many bids.
It's polarized, and there's a bunch of fanboys there that are okay with this behavior, saying, "Yeah, whatever, I'm going on," and that's probably half the people.
Yeah, and I would imagine
a lot
of those boys are the same ones that said, Elon was just giving the Roman salute. It's the same type of toxic everything, toxic misogyny, toxic racism, all of it. It all goes hand in hand. It starts from the top. And when you learn and you get brainwashed by people like these boys in this backyard stuff are being brainwashed thinking that it's okay to say this shit.
So Alex,
sure.
And again, like I'm speaking on behalf of all women in the hobby. And before I came on with you guys, the time I did speak to many women in the hobby that do have prominent faces and voices. And I listened to their concerns. Yeah. And their concerns was, this is the message they want most of the men in the hobby to hear. This is just one single instant. This happens all the time. This is just when they were caught. Some of us actually, you guys, are kind of grateful that it did happen, because it is shining a light on something that obviously needs not just change, but it needs like a massive like overhaul. It needs to be, cut into millions of pieces and then rebuilt back again. You guys,
the culture's been headed this way.
Especially when you bring in the concern of safety over children. And I get asked this question as women in the hobby all the time. How do we get more women into the hobby, especially? And then how do we get more young women or young girls or children?
It ain't this way, man.
It ain't this way.
It's not this way.
Although Whatnot thinks that, they're breaking the bank for them. They're doing a good job for them.
Alex, I got a massive question for you.
In the long term, it's bad for them. It's bad for the image.
Right.
Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, it's all good. This is why we talk all the time, and it's nice to finally hit record.
Yeah.
So you've got like a ton of you've got like 125,000 followers, and you do wonderful videos on like interesting stuff, like the Travis Kelce origin story of that card and really cool things. Do you feel like, not just the women you spoke with, but do you feel like other leaders in the hobby are doing enough right now to kind of be like, this is bad, and put spotlight on it? Or do you think that they're not?
I'm actually glad. And that's such a Nick Andrews question to bring up. And I love that you did.
I didn't mention any names.
This was one thing that a handful of women in the hobby did bring up last night. And you might have been a part of it. I don't know. Not placing blame on you. But instead of focusing the spotlight and the blame on the one party that was actually responsible, other people within the hobby who do have bigger voices and platforms, now whether we agree they should have those platforms or not, they still do. But they came out and said some things, and a lot of which they said was sus, okay? Sus, like, not enough.
You sound like my son. All right.
Not enough. Oh yeah, I wish I was Gen Z. But they said stuff like, I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what to say. Excuse me? This is the one time, girl, that you shouldn't be at a loss for words. It's when women lose words that we wind up back in the Handmaid's Tale. Okay, for one. For two, some men in the hobby that I will say this to his face, like Jeff, I do think he was unfairly attacked last night, because a lot of people, instead of focusing on the main issue, they sort of went to him and they made him the enemy. I don't.
Well, he could have done better.
He said. I thought what he said was bullshit. I thought he could have.
And then 4 hours later, he corrected what he said, which I think is
because he got called out
after I called him out.
He's a friend of mine. I'll say it to his face. I thought it was not enough. And if you're gonna say anything, like, go for it. If not, just don't do it at all and say, I will post about this on Monday.
Yeah, gosh darn. I hope for the best for these guys. So darn it. Yeah. Like, and then he gets called out, and it's just like he gets more angry about a Wemby jersey. Like, I don't want to get whatever. People know I can't stand Jeff. It's all good.
Yeah, let's not. We don't have to give airtime anymore.
But you're right. You're right. I went after Jeff too.
Listen, if my kid gets a Wemby jersey, I'm selling it at an auction.
The reason I did though is because if Jeff Wilson stood up and said, if Jeff Wilson stood up and said, "I'm going to boycott Cards HQ. We're done with whatnot for one day," just to send a message that this matters to us and we want some communication, that would have changed the game. It would have changed everything. And he didn't do that. I don't know why he didn't do that. He talked to them, and I understand they have a process. You got to apply pressure when you're in his position. And I don't like that he did not apply pressure. It's his call. It's his platform.
Agreed. Agreed. But also, I think another one of his points was, this stuff doesn't happen within minutes. It does take time. It doesn't happen overnight. Yeah. So maybe maybe not backyard. Sorry. Maybe Whatnot is like figuring out the game plan.
How much longer do you think they have?
But Alex, it like Nick mentioned his background. Like I've also worked in very large organizations before. When the proverbial crap hits the fan, you have a playbook to move very fast.
Yes.
Within 4 hours fast.
You guys, I used to work for the New York Jets. I was their official team
exactly.
reporter.
All right. So
let me tell you a funny story.
You know it too.
Let me tell you a funny story. I had just graduated. I'm sorry. I was not that young. I was 25. I posted a photo of myself and my two girlfriends, my friends from college, in bikinis. And we were sitting on a dock, like wearing baseball hats and having a good old time. And it was not a thirst trap. It was just simply women being in bathing suits. Men post it too. It's okay. Right. And by the way, yes, women do have boobs. That's all right. And no, we don't need you to buy us new boobs when we're 6 years old. What world are we living? What?
Oh, jeez.
I wish I could curse. You told me not to. But why are you talking about 6-year-old boobs, you freak?
Wild.
You shouldn't even be talking about a 35-year-old's boobs, let alone 6-year-old boobs. But back to my original story.
Yeah, get back to the story.
Which is Woody Johnson. So okay. Woody, when I was hired to be the New York Jets team reporter, Woody he's the owner. And unfortunately, he's way too involved in the franchise, which is why they suck all the time. He also was involved in my hire. Like, he had to ultimately give the go-ahead. Like, okay, Alex Stein was good to go to represent my organization. So at first I liked him. He then comments. It's kind of funny. It's very funny, actually. And I wish I saved all the receipts. But on that photo of me and my friends in the bikinis, he commented, "Looking good, ladies," with like a winky face.
No.
Okay. Now this is Woody Johnson. Keep in mind, back then,
I get it.
This was 10 years ago, the blue check mark, now everyone could buy a blue check mark, but back then no one had blue check marks. So when that came up on my feed, everyone lost their mind. Within 35 minutes, you guys, I had the head of New York Jets PR begging me to take down my post and to take down his comment, because obviously it was a horrible look for the franchise. And you know what I did? I played the yes man and I said, okay. And I should have left it up.
Yeah, man. Speaking from somebody that likes chaos, I agree.
This is before the Me Too movement. This is before women like me had any protection.
Hey, you were young.
You were young.
You were in your 20s. You're in your 20s.
I should have left it up.
Yeah,
but that's back to your point about whatnot. You're right. Like, if the New York Jets could watch I'm a nobody's Instagram that closely.
Right.
And force me, their employee, to do that, whatnot can do whatever the heck
or
they
backyard,
want.
For Christ's sake, backyard. Can't you stop your breaks for
do
like
something?
4 hours? Like, stop your breaks for like a 10-hour period. Right. Have a company meeting and it's okay if the 14-year-old Timmy doesn't rip a prison pack at 12:30 today. It can wait.
Well, it's not necessarily. Don't you think it's not necessarily that? There's a lot of other breakers that depend on the income, and if maybe they feel
it's
bad.
A whole everything.
It's a whole ecosystem.
But you know who should should subsidize the income? I mean, he the owners. They brag about how much money they make all the time.
But Alex, they can
put your money where your mouth is and pay for your breakers that you just screwed over their careers.
Yeah.
You just screwed them over.
You can shut them down for a couple hours, Alex, and you pay them for half a day. Yeah, half a day of salary. We need to have a company meeting. Yeah, we need to have a company meeting. We flew in
we're taking this seriously.
Human resources, right? And we're going to have a training right now. All of us are having one. I do want to back to the backyard, Nick. I also saw last night that you posted. Did somebody at Backyards, one of these bros, threaten to get physical?
Yeah, so
with someone
they're threatening. If I see they have a private Discord, and in that Discord they're discussing what dealers are talking about this, what people are talking about this, and making a list, and they're gonna flip your tables over at card shows
and content creators and
content creators.
Good luck.
So I'm officially on the list.
I got two bodyguards coming with me to the Nationals, so have fun.
Bring it on. I don't need a bodyguard.
We don't need
bodyguard.
We don't need bodyguards, but
come at
me. We should let them do that. We should let them, because can you imagine?
That would make it easy.
They would be done. You go to the National, you're gonna be flipping over.
You know what?
Tables?
I think Dark Web Nick might try to get on this Discord. I just had a great idea.
Ooh, great idea.
I bet I can get on there. My son can probably get on there for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. Make it happen.
Social engineering time.
physically threatening people. Like, give me a break.
We gotta
you guys
a break.
LZ, it's the bully pulpit culture. Like,
yeah.
Oh, you don't like what I have to say? I don't care. I'll pound you. Like, shut up.
Yeah, sure you will. All right,
tough guy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So let's wrap this thing up with like final thoughts. I think maybe the three of us, like a quick final thought. And Alex, maybe you can just, tell people where to follow you or whatever too. LZ, do you want to give your final thought first? You want me to go?
I can give my final thought.
All right, go ahead.
I have a couple.
All right, I'll make it quick. You want to go last?
I will make it quick.
Okay.
There was some talk yesterday. Someone from Sports Card Radio made the point, so I want to give them a shout out, and I actually agree. Like, we're talking high-end product that these breakers are breaking. We're talking big money. That big money is going to start to disappear. Yeah. The people that can afford these $10,000, $20,000 cards, they're going to start buying watches, bourbon,
art,
musical memorabilia, art. Like, this is going to have, I think this is going to have a ripple effect. Like, I know for me, yeah, Nick, we have like big expensive collections. Like, I don't want to be in a break like that. I want to be in a high-end break that like knows how to talk to people. So that's point number one. Point number two, I've said it before. I'm absolutely disgusted. I want this guy to really learn a hard lesson. I'm sorry, but you have to. I learned hard lessons when I was in my 20s. You got to learn a hard lesson. And I think the third thing I want to say, and it's a real shame, but there was something major that happened in this country yesterday in Washington, D.C. There was a terrible, terrible accident between a commercial airline and a military helicopter where many people passed away.
66 souls died.
66 people. And instead of that, we were focusing on this crap yesterday. And I don't want to give it much more thought after this episode. Yeah. I honestly don't. I'm not going to post.
It's probably because I haven't watched the news in 5 years, so I didn't even know.
Oh, Nick, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But it's pretty sad that we weren't able as a hobby, because we have a big community and a beautiful community that could raise money and raise awareness, that we didn't focus on that yesterday.
That's embarrassing.
And I do hope that tomorrow we can focus on that.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of irony in the worst way, LZ, because the top of the government blamed that crash on DEI hires. So think about it. No, if you think about it, women are being like, come on, like it's sort of like it is just.
It's crazy. I got it.
All right. Who's next up for final thoughts? Who wants to go next?
I'll take it, and then Alex, you close this.
Alex,
you land this plane. I'll be real quick with mine. Number one, it's the most important moment in Whatnot's history. It's the most important moment in Backyard Breaks history. The next 72 hours will define their next 10 years. And like you said, I'm almost done with sports cards. I've just got my vintage auto sets, and I'm good. And I'm going to start exploring Magic and Pokemon. I'm done with basically all modern stuff.
But
anyway,
why? Why do you have to be done with?
No, it's not because of this.
A couple idiots.
No. It's not because of these idiots. It's a direction I've been going anyway, and it's a direction I've been hearing, which is interesting. Okay. And I see stuff like this, and it's like, yeah, okay. Like, I don't really want to deal with that either, too. It's just like another straw or whatever.
Nick, I'll pull you back in. I'll pull you back in.
I will pull you back in.
I have ADD. I have ADD, man. I'll change my mind.
There's a lot of emotions going on right now, right? And you're just shooting from the hip. So I respect that, but I will pull you back in.
All right. Well, good.
Alex,
your final thoughts.
First off, I want to say thank you both for, using, you guys have, exploded recently within the space because you've been doing such a great job.
Thank you.
Nick's had his moments with videos, and I'm like, maybe you shouldn't have done.
Me and Alex didn't talk for like a month, but it's okay.
No, that's not true, Nick. But Nick, you took like my, I don't want to say wisdom as a woman, but you did listen to like what I had to say, and you learned from it. And like, you have to admit, like, I think your content has been so much better since that moment.
Yeah, you're
and
good.
I hope that's just a tiny little moment, like whatever.
Feedback
I hope
is a gift.
I hope that this terrible moment within the industry can be used as a springboard, for deeper discussions for most men, and not just men, other women in the hobby that don't necessarily experience what other women do. The rhetoric, the widespread impact that it makes on a lot of our lives, and I just hope that we use this as sort of like a teaching moment. And just grow from it and learn from it. And I think that maybe, I don't want to say I'm glad it happened. I'm not glad it happened. I don't want to witness like the downfall of anybody. I have no ill will towards anybody in the hobby space. But again, maybe it needed to happen. Does that make sense? Like maybe this is something that needed to happen for us to be better and move ahead and forge ahead.
I love it.
I mean, it's good to find a silver lining, right? I mean, in any case,
you have to in life, right?
You have to. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, Alex, thank you.
So kudos to you guys. So thanks for having me on. It was fun.
No, thank you.
Next time I come on, let's talk about actually fun things, not 6-year-old, not 6-year-old nipple piercings, please.
All right, before we finally sign off, what's your Instagram handle in case people want to follow you, Alex?
I'm just at Alex Giaimo, AlexGiaimo.
All right. Thanks, everyone. That was fun.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.